If you do not have enough visitors and conversions for statistically valid A/B testing, you still can and should do conversion optimization. There are 5 things you can do with a low traffic website. The first and best one is to set the KPI to a micro conversion instead of your final primary conversion. So for example, if you have an A/B test running on your product detail page, you can track the number of cart visits instead of the number of transactions. So the next step in your funnel. As you have a lot more website visitors in your cart compared to website visitors on your thank you page, you need fewer visitors in your test to make your A/B test statistically valid. This is because the conversion rate to your cart is much higher than the conversion rate to a transaction. Better is to set the KPI 2 steps down the funnel. You can game one step. Simply make the call to action button massive with arrows pointing towards it, or make a fake promise. However, if the visitor takes 2 steps towards the final conversion, it does show a stronger intention to buy eventually. So if possible, take 2 steps as your KPI. This means if you have an experiment on the product detail page, the KPI will be a checkout visit. The second thing you can do is make big and radical changes in your A/B tests above default and test for 6 weeks. Remember that an MDE around 10% or higher requires a big impact. So if you get an MDE of around 15%, set up radical tests. Third, you can run A/B tests with a lower significance level. When you test with lower significance levels, you need less data to find a potential A/B test winner. And this winner will not be statistically valid, but it can still give you a good indication of what might work on your website and what might not. A high statistical significance will ultimately declare fewer type 1 errors or false positives. So decreasing the statistical significance of your tests will surely result in more type 1 errors. We will cover significant levels later on in this course when we analyze our A/B test. The fourth and fifth thing you can do is to take a step back on the hierarchy of evidence. You still have all your research insights and test ideas. Now what you can do is implement the test ideas which are based on several research resources. So get the one with the highest priority score and implement those ideas straight away on your website. Next, compare the data of the previous period with the period after implementing these changes. So imagine if you have 5 ideas based on several research resources. 2 of those might result in an increase in your conversion rates. 1 might result in a small decrease, and 2 might not have an effect at all. So when we implement those ideas, you will likely see an increase in your conversion rates. You just do not know which idea resulted in this uplift and if this uplift was caused by luck instead of the changes you made. The last thing you can do is qualitative testing. You can implement the changes and interview users, have a survey on your website, or conduct a 5-second test. However, a much better option is to conduct usability tests to validate your ideas. So conduct a usability test on the current website. Next, implement the changes, perhaps in a test environment, and run another usability test. Now analyze the differences between the 2 tests. So in summary, if you have a low traffic website, you can and still should do conversion optimization. The best way is to track for micro conversions, 2 steps down the funnel. Alternatively, you can test radical changes, lower your significance levels, analyze 2 periods, or run usability tests.